Hi, I'm Cottrell with the Sports Information Department here at Salisbury University. Today, I'm going to be taking you back to the 2019 women's soccer season with head coach Kwame Lloyd, along with players Juliana Looney, Emma Hill, Brooke Rossiter, and Ally Goetz. What were your expectations going into the 2019 season? Kwame, what did you expect from the players? And then, ladies, what did you expect from your coaches and your teammates?
Well, going into the 2019 season was definitely something we were really excited about. We worked really hard in the spring. We had a tremendous spring with this group. They won the Iron Sammy. Um, they also won the Fun Run before spring break. So this is one of the most committed groups I've worked with, and a lot had to do with the team chemistry. So going into the 2019 season with a new formation that we've been focusing on for at least for 3 months or so prior was exciting. I thought that we had a good group. We had the right kind of leadership, and we had a lot of talent. So the expectations were fairly high.
I would say as the players, our past seasons, we played good, but we never came out with what we wanted. And I think especially after the spring before the season, we knew how good we were and we just gelled as a team. I've never had that good of a relationship with a team before. And ever since freshman year, I think we've developed a really good relationship with the seniors of our last season. And I think that really helped because we knew how good we were together, and having that spring before our season, it really gave us the expectations and the confidence that we needed.
Also, the spring season, not only did our team bonding really help our team dynamics, but we also had the same mindset going into the fall, which was something that really helped our success.
I think that our team chemistry was the biggest thing for expectation wise. We knew what each other were capable of, and I don't think that we were afraid to hold each other to the highest standard possible. So we were kind of all just being on the same page was really big going into the fall.
We all kept that accountability for each other all throughout the spring season, but then through the summer leading up into our season. The day before preseason, we were all pretty confident in one another that we would all be ready and sharp and ready to go. So
Ally and Brooke, you were both noted as significant players in the season preview for the 2019 season. How do you believe that built, that expectation built upon this new season?
In the past, I didn't have as much confidence as I did in the last season, and that definitely has an effect on how you play. And when you don't relate to your teammates or you don't have a good relationship, you don't have that confidence to mess up. So I never thought if I tried something new that my teammates would be mad at me. I think they built my confidence, and it gave me the confidence to take on players. And once I started doing that, I realized that I was capable of doing it and that my teammates would support me if I messed up. So I think not having a fear of messing up because you have that relationship with your team is what really gave me the confidence to keep trying new things. And I think that's really what made me a better player.
So confidence for me, I think, was a big thing because I went from the year before just being a freshman to my sophomore year, and that jump, even just that 1 year jump, I feel like for me, my confidence was through the roof. And I would agree, I wasn't afraid as much anymore to mess up. And playing with the people around me grew my confidence insurmountably, I would say.
To add to that, I would also say with our team relationship, it was honestly really fun to play. And I think it's so you play so much better when you're actually having fun and enjoying the game. So I think that was another thing.
For the group, kicking off the 2019 season, Salisbury went 2-2-1 in the earlier season games, including a sweep of Methodist and Lehman in the SU Classic that kicked off the season. Do you believe that set the building blocks for the rest of the year? Do you think that tournament kind of set the tone for the season?
I think that, going into any season, we are excited and looking to compete. And, I think the first two games, the Methodist game, I think was a tougher of the two games. And the second game we played, I think it was the second game we played, Lehman, we got an opportunity to play everybody. So that was, gave us a little confidence in showing our depth and how we could play. The second weekend, though, was kind of a bum weekend. So at least I thought we were the better of the two teams. I thought it was going to be competitive. I thought, both Montclair State and Arcadia are very strong programs. And I thought we were at that point where we were ready to do that. I just think we had some hiccups in, unfortunately, travel that allowed us to not go into the game as focused as we normally would in any other game. And I think that was probably one of the catalysts going into the rest of the season. Like, to be honest, I'm gonna be frank. I thought it was crap. To be honest, I just thought, I knew my team, and they were pissed that we had to go into 2 games like that, dealing with some travel issues, and the referees weren't very accommodating. Though both coaches from Montclair State and from Arcadia were very accommodating, but I think that kind of catapulted us in the rest of the season. Like, we're not going to take anything for granted anymore, and we're just going after everyone. And though we respect every opponent, we're not going to let things that are out of our control dictate our future. So I was really proud of how they responded coming out of that weekend. And we just went after it for the next, 13 or 14 games.
I agree with everything that coach just said about like how the season started off. I mean, it's always really nice to get 2 wins under your belt really early on. But I think that we as a team all collectively learn a lot more from the 2 losses that we took early on, because we learned a lot. We learned that we had to kind of put like the stuff that we can't control aside. So whether it's like field conditions or the refs or travel or whatever it is, like, at the end of the day, those can just be excuses. We still have to show up and we still have to play. So we kind of like bought into that and had our run after those 2 losses. And I think that we just kept getting better and better each game, because we kind of buy into the fact that at the end of the day, we're the ones out there playing. That's all we really need to get a win under our belt. So
I think the game that like really did it for me was Montclair, because they were a nationally ranked team. And in our past seasons, we would never like even think that we had a chance of winning. We would just go into the game like, oh, we're going to lose. And I think after that, when we were tied with them the entire game and basically dominating each half, like that's when I realized like, wow, we're going to be a good team this year. And that like we shouldn't be scared of any other team.
Right after that weekend, we tied, I think it was Virginia Wesleyan, and Jenna Beck scored a header and Emma made beautiful saves off a free kick, I remember. I think like after that weekend and that tie, I feel like that whole week was the buy-in week. We realized that, okay, this isn't happening. We're not satisfied. Like, we have to keep growing and put everything else aside, but we are a really good team and we shouldn't be satisfied with a tie at this point. We have to win from here on out.
You guys kind of touched on already, but was there a specific moment or game when you guys realized, hey, like we can really make a run for it? Or was there any kind of moment that was monumental to any of you guys?
I remember one practice, Q saying to us that we had an undefeated season up until one certain point, and I just hadn't thought about like the stats at all up until then, and I was like, oh wow, we're really good. And then of course beating CNU 5-2 was something that I will never forget. That was just such a good feeling, and I remember thinking like, wow, we can really do this.
I think for me, it was another like practice moment. As a goalkeeper, I kind of have my own space away from the team, so I was kind of getting a chance just to sit and watch everyone play and watch everything kind of unfold one practice. And it was just the level of like skill and technique, and it was just the way that everyone was thinking about the game was just so like sharp. And it was so early in the season that had picked up, that I just kind of had a really good feeling that the team had gelled together. Everyone had done their individual part, and then we had all finally come together to have this united front, like going through the season. So that was kind of my little moment on it.
I would agree with them. I think it's different when you watch your team play. And I even got caught up this past fall, but when your players and your leadership is holding players accountable before you're holding players accountable, it shows you the direction of your team and where it's going. And we had a senior class that enabled our younger players to shine and enabled us to have good chemistry. I think they could have made it tough for a lot of the younger players to feel like this is their time, the opportunity. And I thought the leadership was really good out of that senior class. And then some of the players are on this call right now. Particularly, I'm going to point out with Brooke on the field. She had a way of holding people accountable without making you feel like you were horrible. So she just wanted it more, and she wanted you to be more competitive. And each of them found different ways and to get their personalities, their competitive spirit in a way that everyone was buying in. So from a coaching standpoint, it was just fun. I mean, it goes back for me as far as comfortability I know the players are going to remember the Frostburg game in the playoffs, and we won in overtime, and seeing Jules put the ball away and in overtime and win that game. And then I was speechless after that. And Brooke said something that, to me and to the team that I'll never forget. And it made me more comfortable being with this group going into that fall, because I knew that we had a special group, that the leadership was there, the depth was there. And obviously the catalyst for me was Christopher Newport, having been the former head coach there for about 8 years and never beaten them. Tied them before, I think once or twice, but had never beaten them. And then to beat them at your place in front of your home crowd, not 1-0 or 2-0, and they can say it was a bad day, but 5-2, and watching certain players just step up and say, I'm taking a PK. Like, no, I'm taking it, and stepping up and putting the ball in the back of the net. And these guys don't know it, but I don't watch PKs very well. These guys are on the field. I'm behind the bench, behind my players. And I don't know if they remember, but it was 2-0 in halftime. We said, if we score one more, it'll be over. But we also knew that we had said that same thing against Catholic a couple years back. We ended up losing 5-4. I'm not sure if they heard of that game, but and within like 5 minutes, I think Brooke had a PK. I'm like, is this happening? Is this really going to happen? And that game just had a bunch of short storylines. Going to, I think it was 3-0, and then I think 3-0 and 4-0, 4-1, 4-2, and I'm like, holy, are they gonna make this comeback? And then you have someone like Alyssa Chesney comes in and plays the attacking midfield role, which she never plays before, and everyone on this panel and my staff like, Q, what the heck are you doing? And I said, I just need someone who's going to chase them down and put them under pressure and make plays for us. And we were exhausted, I think, mentally. And then we just subbed in Tierney. And within 2 minutes, she sees the ball, turns it, finds Tierney, and then Tierney gets a fast break. And you're thinking, well, if this goal goes in, it's over. It's done. They can't come back with this group. And then she shot on a fast break. She shot from 20 yards out. I'm like, what is going on? Why didn't you go? And then it goes in. I'm like, shut up. This is happening. This is awesome. So that was probably the biggest game since I've been here to be a part of. And these guys took me for that ride, and that was incredible.
Perhaps the signature win of the year was that 5-2 win over CNU, which was the first win over the Captains, as we had already said. But what was the atmosphere heading into the game, and what was the feelings after the win?
Before the game, honestly, well, for me, I was honestly really excited. And that was the first season, and I think our team has ever been excited to play CNU, because our whole season was kind of built up to that game. Mm-hmm. We were like undefeated at that point. We knew we could win. We always said we knew we could beat CNU, but I feel like mentally, some of us, like, we just didn't know. Like, we were very iffy about it in our past seasons, but this season was like so different. And everyone before the game, like, I can remember so clearly warming up, and we were just like so pumped to play them, because the game was finally here that we've been waiting for. And after the game, like, when we proved it, we all wanted to storm the field. And I remember Q saying, like, be humble, be humble. So we were just quiet, but we were so happy that we finally, after like so many years of wanting to beat them but never being able to do it, we finally proved ourselves. So I'd say it was like one of the best days of my life.
Even now, I get kind of excited just talking about it, like having that in the back of my head always. But I think one of the biggest things too is, like, I still watch the film of it, and like even now it's fun, but I think it's one of those games too where like we learn from it. So like even now we've talked about it in practice, what Emma did during the game and kind of annoyed CNU, and we can learn from that now. And I think that's one of the biggest things too, is like after the game we were so excited, but it's like, okay, how can we build from this? And then we ended up going to their place and tying them 0-0. Still, they didn't score on us. So it was like excitement, but also like I think validation for us that we knew like from this year on we always have the chance to beat them. And like Brooke said, like our mindset was different going in, and I think that's what we need every year now.
Going into that game, it was definitely like a big like confidence and like air of confidence from like each of our players and stuff like that. Like our team room before, it's always like blasting music, getting excited. But the moment that we step out there, it was just this confidence that each person had. And I know for like me as a goalkeeper, like having my defenders like show that kind of confidence and that savviness, like that gives me confidence because I know that they're going to crush it. And so then all I have to do is just hope for the best a little bit and do my part for this team. And then after, I think it was just this, just like joy, honestly, simple. Like once the game was over, we were all just so happy. Like our freshman year, we hadn't had a chance to beat them yet. And we finally, have worked up into that point. So it's a validation, like Ally was saying, of just how much work that we put in. Because it wasn't just this season, it's all of our seasons building into that game.
For the following practice, like that was when I kind of realized like, okay, we still have the rest of the season to play. Cause that was just such like living on the high for the rest of the weekend was something that like that was the best feeling ever. But I do remember after the game, like thinking like, okay, we can really win this, but we can't just show that this is a one-time thing. Like this has to be something that we prove is how we play. This is how good we are. We need to continue proving it. And I think that we did a really good job. Just really showing our skills and being able to finish out the season as strong as possible.
So that CNU win and the strong play during the conference season helped the team to a 14-game unbeaten streak, the number 1 seed in the CAC tournament, and a plethora of postseason awards, including you being named the Conference Coach of the Year, Casey Lamb winning the CAC Rookie of the Year, and then 8 all-CAC first-team selections, which was record-breaking. Turning around a team that won 7 games in the year before to all of this success in 2019, that must have been a really humbling experience for you. If you could just tell us all of what that meant to you as a coach.
Yeah, the word was validation. I think that's, we've been building on this for a long time. I'm really proud of my staff that when we went recruiting, it started with them getting out there and recruiting the right kind of players, the right personalities. It also had to deal with the players, accepting new players into the program and allowing them to feel like they can shine. I thought Brooke put it well when she said, not being afraid to make mistakes and to go after things. I think that allowed for a lot of our younger players and our players, upcoming players, to take things to the next level and not be afraid of it. For us, I tell the story all the time with the recruits that, this is the most competitive group I've been around for a long time. Like they don't want to lose in anything. They don't want to lose in bowling. They don't want to lose in laser tag. They don't want to lose in fitness. And I had a group, it's about like 5 or 6 of them. It was Brooke and Looney and Lydia and a few other players, but they compete in fitness all the time. Like that's just their thing. And that's something that's kind of been passed down. Taya and Dina, a lot of the players really just push themselves to a limit, to their limit. And that year, I'm not sure if Brooke and Looney remember, usually Brooke, Looney, and about 5, 6 players try to run together. And this one year, Looney decided to step away and step out. And I asked Looney, I said, what are you doing? Why aren't you running with Brooke and Lydia and the rest of them just to, because they push themselves? And Looney said, shh, coach, shh. I'm like, why are you shushing me? And then she's like, I want to see what they get. And then I'm going to get one more. And I'm like, I love these guys. I love their mentality. I love the way they think. So, going to that season and having that incredible year, I just wanted it back. I wanted it again. I knew we had a great group coming back again, and I just wanted to do it one more time. And, we didn't finish the way we wanted to. It's always tough to play a team 3 times. And I felt we got robbed in that game. Looney had a great goal that would have put the game away, or at least changed the way they approached. But you can't take away the things they did. And for me as a coach, to see your work, like literally, I think maybe the last 4 or 5 games, it was just a ride. I was just, they were the engine, I was steering the bus, and they just took me for this ride that was incredible. To watch them play. And even now, like I tell them that sometimes in the fall when we were training, especially when we had opportunity to scrimmage, I would get caught up in awe in watching them play. That I forget, hey, you need to tweak this or tweak that. But when you're around a talented group that enjoy each other, they enjoy competition, the chemistry is really good. They're so welcoming to the younger players, and they're not threatened by talent. They look for us to bring in. If I brought in a mediocre class, I think the four of those guys would be in my office, including Kayla and Christina, the next day, being like, what the hell did you just do? They want talent. They want to be pushed. They want challenges. And it's just a great group. So I enjoyed every moment of that season, especially the win streak. And to look back at it, we look at my staff did a tremendous job, the athletic trainers, the sports performance coaches, even we had a birth with Maddie being born. And from the time Maddie was born, we won 13 straight. So got to give a little shout out to Davia Williams and Mo Williams for that. But it's just look at these faces. These guys are the reason why we win. And it's not, I want to say it's like this tremendous strategy and tactics that I put together or my staff puts together. We lay out the map and these guys follow it and they take it to the next level.
Brooke, Juliana, Emma, and Ally, each of you earned a spot on the All-CAC first team. How do you think your performances impacted or influenced your team as a whole?
I'd say definitely the confidence. I think when one player has confidence, they are more willing to help other people, if that makes sense. If you feel like iffy about your playing and you don't think you're doing as well, you kind of you feel like you don't have a place to like help other people. But when you're feeling good about your playing and you're doing good, you want your other teammates to do good too. And it makes you it gives you the confidence to speak up and hold people accountable because you feel like you have a right to, if that makes sense.
Like at practice, I feel like us four and everyone else are like always working really hard and always being really competitive. And I think that that's something that really influences the team. Like I think that people look up to us, our teammates look up to us. And I think that that influences how well we can play too. And I mean, not just us, I think that there's a lot of leaders on our team, but I think that the leadership and the competitiveness and the ability to hold each other accountable has been something that's really been influencing our team in a good way.
We have so many different leaders on this team that you can look at any of them and just kind of judge, or if you're feeling like a little slowed down that day, or maybe you're not feeling like you're playing your best, I can look at Brooke, I can look at Looney, I can look at Ally, and when they're playing with that confidence and that technique and that skill, it makes me reevaluate myself, check myself back in, and kind of re-engage myself so I can still keep performing even if I felt like I was having that off day or just a weird time with it.
You say win your individual battles a lot, and I feel like when one of my teammates, these three guys, and even anyone else on the team, especially when a freshman does it, when a freshman or anyone is winning their individual battle, no matter what it is, if it's giving it 100% or winning a tackle, it makes me excited. And I think that's one of the things that excitement and having fun to me is one of the biggest things. And our leadership is really good. But I think when every single person on our team is just going 100% at all times and winning what they can do and doing their job, it makes me excited and it helps me to play a lot better. And I think that's one of the biggest things throughout, not just last season, but this fall and my freshman year too. But
my next question is for Emma. Since you're in the net, you dominated it in 2019. You had 13 wins. You ranked second in the conference with a save percentage of 84.8%, and then you had a 90.6% in conference play. You were named to the All-CAC first team, the All-Eastern College Athletic Conference second team, and then you were also awarded the CAC Defensive Player of the Week 4 times and the ECAC Defensive Player of the Month 2 times. What do you believe set this season apart from your 2 previous seasons in the cage?
Honestly, I think that my first 2 years here, they were definitely building blocks leading into this season, and honestly going into the next one also. I think that I kind of finally bought into this idea. It's a goalkeeper, the way that we play is a little different. It's a little unique. We get to watch a lot of the game unfold before we actually get to do anything. So I think I kind of bought into this idea of simple as elegance when you're standing in goal. I don't have to make giant flashy saves to be effective for my teammates. I have to take in what's happening in front of me and help direct. And then if the opportunity unfolds itself where I have to get my hands on the ball and I have to get in there, keeping my technique sound, having that simple and making the position look easy in a way makes me more effective as a goalkeeper. And then if you're confident in your goalkeeper, it kind of extends out to the rest of my team, right? My defenders are more confident and midfielders are confident because their defense is sound. the forwards feel like they have freedom to go and join the attack and not feel like they have to, worry about getting burned behind because everyone's there supporting. So just, I'm one small branch on this giant tree that is our team. So it's just kind of like cool to be a part of that. And I don't know, I'm really grateful for last season, having an opportunity to get out there and get my hands dirty a little bit, but it's these guys that make my job so much easier because they're doing all the hard work 90% of the game. So
this year, it hasn't been a normal season. Building upon last year's success with both quarantine and the suspension of the season, how have you and your team adapted to this changing environment? And how do you plan on integrating your experiences from the 2019 season moving forward?
Initially, it was kind of interesting for us because the kids still came back a bit early. Though they couldn't train, they got tested early. And so we went through a little period where we were kind of like, what should we do? How do we make this work? And everyone asked me daily, like, how are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm, putting out fires and juggling balls. So each day was a different obstacle. And for me, the main concern was getting my players into a space where they felt comfortable, safe, and healthy. So that was my first goal. Second goal was to try to figure out what we wanted out of this season. What can we make out of it? So we didn't start until October, which gave us a good month to get the kids acclimated to what the new protocols were going to be. And my theme for the season for me, I'm not sure if how many times I shared with the players, but was not to make excuses, make adaptations. So each week was a new challenge. Each day was a new challenge. I'm really proud of the team because once we started training, we went through almost 6 or 7 weeks without having a COVID test positive. And the kids were extremely disciplined. We tried to do different things to make it special for them. Our goal was development, competitiveness, and to have fun. So different things like whether or not the custom water bottles they received, I think we got one other thing I can't forget, but I know the water bottles was my big thing. Oh, the custom mask. So they had another mask to wear. And the kids my players just did a tremendous job. So they trained 3 times a week during the week, twice a week with sports performance. And then they scrimmaged on Saturdays when we were given the opportunity to. And so I'm hoping to be a catalyst going into the spring. And then obviously another catalyst going into this fall of 2021. The tricky part is that, you have some seniors who could take advantage of coming back. Some seniors, it's just not in the card. So I have a senior group right now that since day one has challenged me, has challenged their teammates. They've always been honest with me and forthcoming. And you want them to be able to write their own story. But, not many times do you get a group that makes history. And so one of the things that no one could ever take away from them was the history they made in 2019. So they made it an incredible fall because they could have not taken it very seriously because knowing that, the spring is questionable and then definitely their following fall would be questionable. They made it fun. They made it competitive. I think in my mind, and I'm probably a little biased, but I think my team was ready to go. August 17th, my team was ready to go and they were ready to compete and they were ready to get after it. And if we were going to have, a 17, 18 game season, if we were going to just train, this character of this group showed greatly. And I'm very appreciative of them. So going into the fall, going to the spring, actually, we have high hopes. We just got some paperwork that we have to do from Jerry today and trying to figure out when we can start playing and how we're going to start playing. And then hopefully be a way in which we can send off this group the right way in the spring and then getting ready for the fall. I had a blast. I thought it was fun. Saturday mornings were great. Put the scoreboard out there. They let me play my music every so often. And I had the best seat in the house, just standing right in the middle of the field and probably being the worst official ever. But I stood in the middle of the field and just watched 30 kids who were extremely talented, had the right mindset, and made every session a blast. So I'm very appreciative of them.